Hello, and welcome. Thank you so much for joining this session. It is my last of today. I have literally done 4 of these. This is my 5th, and I am exhausted. This is possibly my favorite to give. It is 21 lessons to make you a global impact leader. And typically it's an hour, but we have 30 minutes. So I'm going to try and buzz through all of them and share as much as I can with all of you. If you can hear me, please let me know in the questions and answers section or the chat. I believe Medium Day opened up the chat for everyone. So please let me know if you can hear me. I'm going to give it a few minutes as people trickle in. Really excited to share everything that I can with you in 30 minutes, and hopefully these 21 lessons will be useful to all of you. So I am the CEO of the DG Sentinel. You can check us out at dgsentinel.org. We are a new nonprofit social media platform to provide an alternative that's good for you and for the world. We uplift your voice, protect your mental health, and connect you to other superheroes so that you can make real friends, save the world together, and be known for activism instead of fame and money. You can reserve your handle at dgsentinel.org. And I am really happy and very honored to have given many different talks today at Medium Day. For those of you who didn't get a chance to check them out, one of the first things that I talked about today was AI and 5 other world-changing issues. I then spoke a bit about how to find your purpose and change the world. A lot of the tips that I had there are also wonderful ways to discover more about yourself, become a better leader, and to have an exciting life. I'm not going to repeat those here, just so for those of you who attended both, this is going to be new content, but check that out. I did a little bit more of a personal story, and we had an incredible editor come in to talk about writer culture clash. So I recommend checking all of those out. But welcome to what is definitely one of the highlights of my day, and I hope all of you enjoy this. Please let me know if you can hear me again. Just drop a quick thumbs up or a comment in the Q&A or chat. We've had a few audio issues today. Thank you, Anjali. Thank you, Matthew. I really appreciate it. Awesome. So I'm just going to jump right in because that is a lot to cover in 30 minutes. So the first thing I am going to start with are 9 rules for success. I'm then going to tell you 9 random tips to change your life that changed mine. And then I am going to end with 3 life-changing lessons for today that you can do today, right now, to make your life better. Okay, so this is about becoming a global impact leader. I should start this by saying the way that I define success is by the good you do in the world, depending on where you came from. So all of these tips are generally leaning that way. They are not necessarily about how to become famous or rich, but they are all good for accomplishing your goals, whatever they are. So here are my 9 rules for success. Number 1, put happiness and love first. Hopefully this is a little bit self-explanatory, but if you are not pursuing something you love or care about, if you haven't found your purpose, and if you don't put the people in your life and the animals in your life you love and care about first, you will just find it harder to be effective. So the reason a lot of people do that is because they think because I have to earn money, I have to achieve what I want in the world. I'm doing the right thing because I'm investing all this time and energy in making the world a better place by making sacrifices now. And then you'll hear a lot of thought gurus come in and be like, no, what's truly important in life is happiness and love. I'm not here to tell you it's truly important. I am here to tell you that prioritizing happiness and love is one of the best ways to become more effective over time, over the next decade. If you prioritize people who are important, experiences that are valuable, and joy, you will literally expand the amount of time and ability and capacity you have to become a leader, to change the world, and to be good at what you do. Number 2, control your mind and body as much as possible. So there are so many reasons why we do not have the ability to control our mind and body. There are physical and mental disabilities. There's a lack of time. There's a lack of ability to get up in the morning and exercise at 6 a.m. That's my problem. But I have found that the more you practice those muscles, whether it's literally physical exercise, learning to be flexible physically, taking care of your body, going to the doctor regularly so that you know any surprises that are going to come up, right? When I say control your body, I mean, okay, I know if I have knee pain, this is going to happen in 6 months, right? So you have notice. It's not about your body being perfect or your mind being perfect. It's about you knowing how to deal with the mind and body that you have and having as few surprises as possible. That means going to the doctor, going to the therapist, exercising regularly, finding exercises you are going to do, even if it's just starting with 10 squats or 10 push-ups a day. Work on it. It's worth it. Number 3, create a clear definition of success to drive you. I started this talk with my definition of success, which influenced exactly what tips I'm giving you. It influenced my purpose. It influences the nonprofit I've started, my work as an attorney before this, and pretty much my whole life. Create a definition of success that matches the life you're already living. Do not pick something that is so far out there you can clearly see it has nothing to do with who you are as a person. Don't have an aspirational definition of who you wish you were and what you wish you considered successful. Actually, realize what it is you prioritize based on the vast majority of time you spend by choice per week today. What is it you think is successful? What do you love to do? The way that I create a clear definition of success, by the way, is also with clear action-oriented words and verbs so that I know what it is I'm driven to do. So I mentioned I define success as the good you do in the world, and then I have a vision statement or a mission or proposition with like, I will solve this issue. I will work on this thing. Highly recommend that. Number 4, plan from the rest of your life to the individual moment, at least every quarter. Let me tell you what this means. So a lot of people figure out what they want to do week by week. They think, what do I want to do today? Oh my God, I have this project I need to take care of. Now I need to run the laundry. Now I need to do this. They're very driven from the moment outward. Maybe they plan ahead a few months or maybe a few years. And even then it usually gets pretty vague and they're like, man, I kind of want a promotion. So I kind of need to work more hours now. So I'm not going to go to the party tonight. A lot of us do this in today's world because we have such a push to try and earn more and try and be more. Instead of that, try to figure out what you care about in life. Maybe it's happiness, maybe it's peace, maybe it's the ability to travel, maybe it's supporting your family. Think about why you really want that money or that fame or that power. What is it you want to achieve? Assume you're going to achieve that in your life. By age 90, by age 80, whenever, you're going to achieve it. You're going to succeed at that. Now plan back from there to this individual moment. What can you be doing now that's going to help you make sure you can do that? Is it rest and recovery? Is it meeting your friends? Is it preparing a new social media platform? Is it switching your jobs? What is it? So take the rest of your life, write everything you would like to achieve in a perfect world. I literally have a document called like things I would love to be great at or things I want to achieve by the time I'm 80. And then I think back, okay, if I want to learn to play the violin that well, I better start now. I better practice. I better improve my skills. Do that. Plan backwards. Don't do it all the time. It's going to drive you crazy, but at least do it every quarter. So basically do a quarterly review of yourself and your goals and your mission and vision the way you would if you were a company. This is not because I think you should be maximizing profit. In fact, I think the exact opposite. I think that if you look at your life in the long term, you will realize that what makes a profitable and happy life is not money or fame, but is all these experiences and things that you actually value and actually learn to measure and reprioritize over time. Number 5, plan to explore and impact as much of the world as possible. This is self-evident. Plan to travel as much as you can, see as many different people and cultures as you can, as cheaply as you can, so you can do it as often as possible, and impact as much of the world as possible. Figure out ways you can make the world a better place and do it. Number 6, because the first 5 things were about planning your future, number 6 is don't follow the plan. I hope this is obvious. I talk about quarterly reviews. I help a lot of people plan their lives and think about how they can upskill. And then I always tell people, remember, it is a plan. It is not a rote mandated recipe with someone holding a gun to your head. This is life. Life changes. You should be willing to adapt. In fact, learning adaptability is one of the best skills you can have. As a kid, I hated change. I hated change so much. I bawled my head off when my parents sold our kid playhouse, whenever they got rid of toys, whenever anything left, I would cry because I was like, I didn't want to lose this and be the last time I ever saw this item in my life. I had to learn, really, really learn to be okay with change and to be okay with moving around and to be okay with making friends now all over the world. And I'm always traveling because I have to visit them. And it's great, but it's also hard. But I think it's also very valuable because the world is a big place and people who grew up around you or people who you're used to are only going to have one perspective. Number 7, relatedly, learn leadership from everyone. We are very used to learning leadership from leadership books and from people who have a career in it or from people like me who do a talk about it. We all come from a very specific perspective. Now, I have a slightly different perspective being a brown woman in leadership. And I have recognized that those things bring things to the table that a typical leader doesn't have. But the vast majority of leadership books you're going to read are going to be written by white men who achieved their success from the 1990s to the 2000s. This is still true about top selling and top recommended leadership books. And that is just not the world we live in. It's not going to be applicable to you if you're not in America, if you're not white, if you're not male, if you're not, don't come from X background. And while there are new books that talk about different identities, they still tend to forget the impact of that specific person's life and privilege on what you are achieving. So what I've learned is I watch the way people around the world lead at our organization. There are leaders from dozens of countries around the world. I watch them lead and I learn little tips from each of them that I think they're successful at. I highly recommend this. There are things that you can pick up from queer culture, from female culture, from brown and black culture that are not used at all in traditional Western leadership today, and they will make you a more unique and more powerful leader. For a great example, I read Chris Voss's negotiation book, which it's a good read. Read it. He talks a lot about tactical empathy. Most women will tell you we grew up learning to do that, right? Tactical empathy, listening, actively listening to people and affirming their thoughts and needs is just something that women frequently do with each other and that we learn to do. It's a very big part of female culture. And yet to this Chris Voss, an FBI negotiator who spent his life around other men, he slapped a TM on it and he's like, oh my God, I came up with tactical empathy, right? So it's a good book, but my point is you can learn this from watching other people. Number 8, create your own leadership style and follow it. You can adapt things from the people you're learning. Write it all down. I literally started writing my concepts of leadership down so I don't forget about it. So for example, I really like over-explaining myself. I like long emails. I like telling people, no, I'm not mad at you. I'm just trying to suss this out. I don't write like a guy. I don't shorten my emails into 3 or 4 words because that works for me and it creates a much more cohesive unit and makes people not second guess themselves. Create your own leadership style. Number 9, don't lead unless absolutely necessary. So my first 5 tips were about planning. And then I was like, don't follow the plan. And then my next few tips are about leading. And I'm like, don't lead. Do not lead. Leadership is overrated. If you can support an existing organization, an existing mission, if you can create something with someone else who's going to take care of project management, if you can shine by being good at the subject matter and implementation and then spend your life implementing, do that. Very, very few people are good leaders, and even fewer people are going to enjoy being good leaders. Being a good leader is being a glorified administrative assistant or secretary. You spend all your days on emails, motivating other people, burying your own thoughts and desires and complaints because you have to show up happy on your darkest day. Don't lead unless it's necessary. It does a disservice to you and your happiness and your impact, and it does a disservice to the org. Those are my 9 rules for success that are non-traditional. You may have not heard before. Put happiness and love first. Control your mind and body as much as possible. Create a clear definition of success to drive you. Plan from the rest of your life to the individual moment at least every quarter. Plan to explore and impact as much of the world as possible. Don't follow the plan. Learn leadership from everyone. Create your own leadership style and follow it. And don't lead unless absolutely necessary. Moving on to my 9 random tips to change your life. So, these are 9 tips that I have picked up over the past many years of learning my own leadership style and working with people from around the world that have actually changed my life and changed my lifestyle and leadership style. So I want to share them with you today. And they come from all different backgrounds. You'll see they're really random. Number 1, if people insult you, imagine they told you you have blue hair. So you know how when you're online, especially if you're an influencer or content creator, you get a lot of negativity. You put an article on Medium, everyone's negative about it. Now you're moody, you're sad. Here's what I do. If people insult me, I imagine they told me I have blue hair. I don't have blue hair. If you have blue hair, imagine they told you you had red hair. You get the point. In your head, literally think, okay, that's such a weird comment. I know I don't have blue hair. I don't have blue hair. So if someone tells you you're a terrible speaker, you suck, you're ugly, you just be like, I don't have blue hair. Like, I know I'm not ugly. I know I'm not a bad speaker. What are you talking about? This in combination with cognitive behavioral therapy techniques and reframing and reminding yourself that their opinion doesn't necessarily matter and isn't necessarily true really helped me get over how much I cared about online negativity. Number 2, take improv. The best way to make friends as an adult is to take an improv class. If you are in a new city and struggling to make friends, or you just want to make friends outside of your college and your school years, or you just want to get better at speaking, better at public performance, better at giving ad-lib speeches that you have prepared in less than 24 hours, along with 4 other speeches you did the same with, take improv. It greatly improves your skills to show up and to just act like a fool and know that life is beautiful and there are so much joy in imperfections. And it's also such a wonderful way to make friends because a large part of improv is the trust fall. Somebody else is going to have your back. I have made really, really great friends at improv, and I really recommend it for any adult struggling to find friends in this very lonely modern world. Number 3, create 3 affirmations for the morning. I am beautiful. I am strong. I am going to accomplish XYZ today. I am a good leader. I am where I'm meant to be. Whatever is most impactful to you, whatever you wish your parents would tell you, or your friends, or your spouse, or your boss, create them and do them every morning. In the mirror, look at yourself and say it. It works. I feel like everybody keeps saying this and no one does it. Do it. It works. Number 4, here's how to organize a meeting, send notes afterward, and be efficient. I'm about to info dump. If you want to record and listen to this part afterward, do it. So what you want to do is send an email in advance of the meeting to explain what it is you're going to talk about, or if it's a standard meeting, there should be a generally known list of things you're reviewing and talking about. Have weekly meetings with people on your team, especially if you're working remotely. Great way for people to chat and get to know each other. Spend at least quarter of the time chatting and getting to know each other instead of talking about the content. If it's about the content, an email or doc would do. Really what meetings are for is to increase personal connection. After the meeting, send notes. So this is one of the big differences between successfully run meetings and unsuccessfully run meetings. After you're done with the meeting, just send, here's a task list. Here's what everyone agreed to do. Remind people about it before the next meeting. Make sure you follow up with everybody on that list. Doesn't matter if you put it on ClickUp or Slack, doesn't matter if it's someone else's responsibility or job. If you're the leader in the meeting, you send the email afterward with the notes telling everybody what it is they're supposed to do that week and reminding them. You can also shout out people who have done it, call out people who haven't done it, and talk about anything else in there, but keep it brief and be efficient. There's a lot more I wish I could tell you about how to effectively run meetings and how to use meetings to empower your organization to run smoothly. We run an all-volunteer organization, and we still get people to show up and deliver, and effectively run meetings are a huge part of why. But I'll leave you with this last tip. Have your video on. If the only way you're meeting people is online, have your video on. It's a great way to get to know people. Number 5, here are the 3 meditations you need to know. This one's also a little bit of a lengthy tip, but I really recommend you look these up on Calm, on YouTube, on Smiling Mind, on whatever app you use. 1 is the breath meditation. Learn to focus on your breath, breathing in and breathing out, counting to 10 and back again, or however you want to do it for 10 minutes. Okay, the breath meditation, learn it. Do it at least every week. 2, the body scan. Head to toe body scan, where you relax and focus on different parts of your body from the head to the toe and back again. Again, it takes about 10 minutes. Again, do it at least once a week. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about why that tip is so important in my life-changing lessons for today later on. The 3rd one is a gratitude meditation. Again, 10 minutes. Think about 5 to 10 things you are grateful for and spend 10 minutes thinking about them, really thinking about them, feeling the best moments of your day or of the past week, reliving and re-experiencing them. This is so important. If there's nothing else you take away from all my tips, take away this one. If you practice this daily or weekly for a year, you will literally retrain your brain to focus on the positive things in your life and to have more energy and to be happier. You can literally retrain your brain. We are trained to be very negative, and evolutionarily speaking, we need a large amount of anxiety and stress when it comes to activities, because that's how we respond to tigers in the ancestral environment or whatever. This can help rewrite all that. It's just an incredible exercise. Number 6, you need to know how to do one thing really well you don't get paid to do. I hope this is obvious. It's sort of like have a hobby, but I mean have a hobby. You need to do it really well. You need to actually focus on it. Yes, raising kids counts. So you're like, I'm a parent, I don't have time. Well, you're a parent. That maybe that's your one thing. Maybe that's something you're passionate about. You study about how to be the best parent you can be. That's awesome. But you need to do one thing that you don't get paid to do, because you need to remind yourself about motivators outside of money, because in today's world, so much of motivation is focused on money or fame. So I would go beyond that and say it needs to be a hobby that you don't get paid to do and that you don't get known for. So I have a lot of hobbies that I do not get paid or known for, and they have always impacted my ability to show up for my job. One of my big ones is I draw. And I do put stuff up under an on account, but I don't really get known for it. I don't earn money for it. And I do it really well. And it's something I really care about doing well. And I focus a lot of time and effort on getting better at, as a professional would, even though it's not my day job. And this makes sure I sort of have some balance in life. 7, read the Fast Friends questions. So if you don't know what this is, if you heard about the 30 questions that lead to love, so if you'll remember, there was a New York Times article that was like, if you ask anybody these 30 questions and you share the answers, you'll fall in love at the end of it. By the way, I did this with like a bunch of friends, and in fact, like 6 or 7 of them fell in love with me. It was terrifying. That wasn't my intention. Anyway, those same questions, the reason I did it with my friends is those same questions and a few more were converted into something called the Fast Friends procedure through UC Berkeley. So you can literally Google UC Berkeley Fast Friends questions. They have all the 30 questions that led to love, minus the creepy staring in each other's eyes part. And they also have 30 other questions. Read them, know them, memorize some of them. They are great conversation starters. They are great ways to take a conversation from light strangers through friendship really quickly. It's a great way to make friends. So read them and know them. Number 8, don't expect anything from helping people. Anything at all. Not gratitude, not help again in the future, nothing at all. Nothing. If you're expecting anything, remind yourself that you may end up bitter and you may end up losing that friendship or that relationship because you're bitter. So I have learned, and this is again something I've had to practice, genuinely internally expecting nothing, not even gratitude from the people I help. And if I cannot be okay with that, I don't help. Because then it probably means that I'm not actually willing to make this sacrifice. I'm only willing to do it as a trade, an implicit trade I'm unwilling to tell the other person about. So, for example, if someone asks you for a job referral and in reality you're only willing to do it if they will make positive referrals in their network in the future, you need to tell them that. Like, I'm happy to make this referral and I would expect you to do the same. If not, you don't tell them that. You don't get to expect that. You don't get to expect it to internally. You don't get to hold them responsible for it later on. Communicate or don't expect anything from helping people. And number 9, this is going to be so controversial. And I know many people are going to disagree, okay? But hear me out. Everyone's love language is quality time. I know people are like, no, there's gift giving. No, I care about acts of service. Okay, yes, maybe in a romantic relationship. Maybe. And that's because most romantic partners spend a lot of time with each other. Post-pandemic, probably too much time with each other. There's a lot of codependency running around. That's me and my husband. I'm super codependent. I know that. But when it comes to your friends and your family and your colleagues and your relationships, the biggest thing that you can do is show up. I go to my friends' parties. I fly around the world to visit my friends. It's one of the things I save up for, which means I make real sacrifices in how I live. Otherwise, I try to show up to their kids' performances. I show up, even though I'm a huge introvert and sometimes I'm exhausted and I really don't want to go. See these dark circles under my eyes? This is because I flew last night to come to DC to hang out with my friends for 2 weeks. Really no other reason I'm here, because I'm moving and I want to see everyone before I leave. I came from California to here to see my friends, right? Like, I really try to show up, and sometimes I've made the wrong choice. Sometimes I've sacrificed my health for it. I've sacrificed career stuff I shouldn't have, right? Like, I've messed up, but show up and love more people than just your romantic partners. Love is meant to be given freely. And in the modern world, we're often taught the really only person you can count on is like your spouse or maybe your parents. No, like, love your siblings, visit them, visit your friends, build a strong found family network that extends beyond your nuclear family. Okay. My 9 random tips to change your life were: if people insult you, imagine they told you you have blue hair, take improv, create 3 affirmations for the morning, organize meetings well, send notes afterward, and be efficient. Learn 3 meditations: breath, body scan, and gratitude. You need to know how to do one thing really well you don't get paid to do or you don't get famous for. Read the Fast Friends questions and memorize them and use them. Don't expect anything at all from helping people. And everyone's love language is quality time, so show up. Okay, so I went through my 9 rules for success and leadership, my 9 random tips that have genuinely changed my life and given me more energy and ability to be the leader I am, as well as to just get to know people and have a fun and enjoyable life. But I want to end with 3 life-changing lessons for today that you can action on and act on today. And then I wanted to leave a bit of time for questions, because I know I just vomited a lot of information very quickly because I wanted to condense my whole hour talk into 30 minutes rather than just giving you like 10 tips. So my 3 life-changing lessons for today. The first thing I want everybody to do is learn how to sleep. Do you know how to sleep? Because most people don't know how to sleep. Most people don't sleep. They lie in bed and they pretend they're asleep for like an hour to 2 hours. And then maybe they fall asleep and maybe they don't actually get a full cycle sleep. They wake up with the slightest noise. They sleep with their pets. Their pets move around. Their kids move around. They wake up. They didn't actually sleep. They're tired all day. They're tired the next day. They look like I do every day. Because I didn't sleep last night. I was on a red eye. Learn to sleep. So the Air Force, the U.S. Air Force and the U.S. Army use a procedure to help their service members fall asleep that works for more than 90% of their service members. So it's probably going to work for you. And you have to learn to do it. It took me about 3 to 4 months to be able to do it every night and every single time. And now I can fall asleep. What I've been doing today in between medium sessions is I've been sleeping for like 10, 15 minutes in between. I slept as much as I could on the flight last night, every moment I got. So the way it works is you do a full head to toe scan. I wrote a Medium article, by the way, about it, which is about the most comprehensive one I've seen on the web, not to advertise my own Medium account or something, but you can check it out there or Google the Air Force sleeping method. But you do a body scan from head to toe. You relax your body. So your body's completely relaxed, and then you blank your mind. You have to learn to blank your mind. You have to learn to know what your mind feels like when there's nothing going on in it, and you have to learn to force it. If you keep your mind blank and your body relaxed for 2 minutes, that's it. You will be asleep. That's it. Okay. Learn to sleep. It is priceless. It has changed my life. I have saved so much time because whenever I want to sleep, I sleep in 5 minutes. Always. Learn to sleep. 2, schedule a week off. Make it happen. If you came to my Find Your Purpose talk earlier, you know why I'm saying this, but it's something you can think about today and see if you can implement it. But find a week, just a week in the next 2 years, because I know, it's a real privilege to be able to take time off today in today's world. Find a week where you can just take the whole week off. No obligations, no funerals, no weddings, no parties, no friends, no like plans for a specific game, no plans to defeat a specific video game, no cleaning your house, no hobbies, no books you have to read, no movies you have to watch, no work you have to do. Off. As long as possible. Typically, I'm like, you actually kind of want a month, but I swear that month will change your life. You only need to do it once in your life. Do it for a week if you can. Do it for how long ever. And then figure out what you do in it. Day 3, when you're staring at the wall because you didn't plan anything, what is it you do? Once you're done recovering, once you're done sleeping and video games and like just feeling better about yourself, what is it you choose to do? What is it you go out and do? I created Dweebs Global, the viral nonprofit that's the sister nonprofit of the Sentinel, where I work now as CEO, accidentally during the pandemic because I had nothing to do. I had quit my job. I had planned to travel. I couldn't. I was in my house doing nothing all day. Within a month, Dweebs Global was created. I would never, ever, ever have done that if I were still in my job or if I were seriously pursuing my hobbies. I had quit everything to travel. Everything was packed up. I was in my parents' apartment. I mean, not like my parents' attic. And there was nothing to do. And my husband and sister and I created a nonprofit and wrote a novel. And I realized I am very passionate about telling stories and helping people find their voice and find their purpose. I would never have done that. Take time off. Number 3, find 5 people you can say I love you to and tell them today. And if you cannot, because I will tell 5 people I love them today. Actually, I probably tell about 5 people I love them most days. But if you don't have that, the important thing is finding them. Find them. Put everything else aside, all the other hobbies, all the other stuff that aren't necessary besides, kids, job, whatever, and find them. Get a dog, get a cat, get somebody you love, make friends, take improv, like I mentioned, find 5 people you can say I love you to and tell them, and make sure there are people you can tell them regularly and people who will say it back. My best friend has this great thing where he and his family always hang up with like love you bye, and now I've started doing that with everyone I love, and it's delightful. So do that. So the 3 life-changing lessons for today: learn to sleep. You can Google the Air Force method. You can find an article on my Medium page. Just learn to sleep. 2, schedule a week off. Make it happen. Make it in the next 2 years and make it happen at least a week, preferably a month. Do it. It will change your life, I swear. Number 3, find 5 people you can say I love you to and tell them. And if you don't, find them today. All right, so that was a lot. There are 9 rules for success, 9 random tips to change your life, and then 3 life-changing lessons you can use today. If you have any thoughts, questions, I am super, super happy to answer them in this last couple of minutes. Otherwise, thank you so, so much for coming to this talk or for coming to any of the others I gave today. Or Daphne came and gave the last one, which was absolutely incredible. Thank you for writing and for sharing your stories with the world. Thank you for coming to listen to me and hearing me share mine. And I wish you all just the happiest, healthiest, best, most impactful and successful life. Thank you very much. Thank you, Anjali. Thank you, Dagmar. I appreciate it. I feel like you've been to all the sessions today. Thank you so much. Thank you, Bhaskar. And it is the hour. I have a long evening planned, so I will go to that. Thank you all for coming.